Assalamu alaikum and welcome. This is the only way up. And today's topic is the assassination of Chief Executive Officer of United Healthcare, the ninth biggest company in the world via revenue, and by a person called Luigi Mangione. And there's a big discussion around the support that the perpetrator, Luigi, is getting in this case. So there's a lot of support, there's a lot of memes, there's a lot of videos going around supporting what he did in this assassination of the chief executive. And United Healthcare are a medical insurance company, and before we get into the deep discussion around this topic, if you like our content, please support us going into 2025 by liking, subscribing, and sharing. So, what do you think about this support for Luigi going around this topic?
So yes, welcome, Shani. Hope you're well. So this is quite an interesting development. You've had effectively the murder of a CEO of a large pharmaceutical company. So I think most people should be clear on who the perpetrator is and who the victim is. But things are never as straightforward and black and white. What seems to be going on is there's an outpouring of support for the perpetrator because the pharmaceutical industry is really looked down upon by most people, especially during COVID, especially a lot of the information we now know of how ruthless these pharmaceutical companies are, the tax breaks they get, the backhanders they get, and actually the work they do, which largely is beyond praying eyes. So, what seems to be going on is there seems to be a significant amount of support for the guy who perpetrated the attack. And that probably really lends to a more broader issue that you've got this huge polarization, especially across the West, where you've got the people on one side and then you've got the elites, and it's never been clearer. There was a time where things were a bit blurred, who's the elite, who's not the elite. But pharmaceutical companies, CEOs are rarely seen as the other. They are not now seen as someone who provides a service, they provide medical help. They're actually seen as someone who benefits from death, they benefit from illnesses. And people just see them as a ruthless industry now. They don't see them as, the NHS in the UK still has some opinion or public opinion that they provide a service. The nurses, the doctors who work there, they're seen in very positive terms. Pharmaceutical companies are seen very, very differently. And it just really shows you where we are at the moment.
Yeah, I think definitely you're right in the sense that, as with most corporates, most elites, they can hide a lot behind a detailed paperwork, behind lawyers, behind reams and reams of papers, terms and conditions, which no one in their right mind has got the time to read at all. And especially when it comes to your health, when it comes to your treatment, when it comes to your medical care, the difference could be life and death. The difference could be prolonged misery or relief. The difference could be getting an operation or suffering for a very long, long time. And especially in America, where the whole system is based on insurance, you get treated based on insurance, and they will refuse, deny treatment based on your insurance. Your treatment, even if a doctor recommends, it may not go get the go ahead if insurance companies don't agree and they won't pay. So this is a big dilemma in America. But the issue is more than that, in the sense that people have lost trust in these big companies, these corporates, these elites. It doesn't do what it says on the tin. This is the big problem. Even in UK, when you look 6 months later, 2 months, 2 years later, people realize, actually, I've got to pay this leasehold fee, and I didn't know the land wasn't. It said freehold, but the land is leasehold. Why? Because it's buried in tons and tons of paper, which people in their right mind won't read. And it's not, people just read what's on the tin and they expect what they get, what's written on the tin. And it reminds me of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that he says that the signs of a hypocrite are three, and one of them is when he promises, he always breaks it, and when he speaks, he tells a lie. And this is how people feel about these corporate companies, these corporate institutions. They're saying one thing and doing another thing. The adverts show you'll be covered, you'll be treated, you don't have to worry, you can take it easy. But people, as soon as they sign that paperwork, they know, okay, I know they're gonna ask me this question. How am I gonna answer this? If I need something and they ask me this difficult question, how will I answer it? Why? Because they know that they're buried in litigation, they're buried in technical wording, they have so many exclusion criteria, it's almost impossible. So the elite world is able to once again get away with everything, and the average person is suffering.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel really, especially in America, Shani, you're seeing that the country is really dividing on multiple critical issues. So you see there's a big divide over abortion, over identity, over immigration. There's a divide currently even over is the US being invaded by Mexican immigrants. And what you're seeing is all of this is quite reflective of where America is, and the masses really disagreeing with the current setup of America, the status quo in America. And that's why guys like Donald Trump win elections, because they are not mainstream politicians. They say what the people believe, even if that's not the most practical thing. And that's why I think this is quite reflective of this CEO's murder of where America is. It's really, really dividing. And that's why you're seeing so many books written about the Civil War. You're seeing a lot of comparisons between America today and what America was like before the last Civil War it had. Because this is basically how civil wars occur. It's when you start dividing amongst each other on the way forward for the country. And as a result of that, people are prepared to secede or to take a stance, yeah, and not resolve these issues. So it just really shows you that in another time, the death of this CEO, they probably would have been lots of events. You would have known his background, the service he's done, what he's been doing, what he's been producing. But in the context we're living in, big corporations, especially in the pharmaceutical industry, are seen very, very negatively. And I think, again, it's just really reflective of where America is. It's really reflective of how people view the position of America currently. And I can't see it getting better. Actually, I can only see it getting worse. I can't see Trump coming in on January 20th and fixing the wounds and mending the wounds and bringing and uniting people. If anything, like a lot of politicians, I think he's going to try and use these
Yeah, I
differences
think
to his own
you know
advantage, which will
beyond
only make
America,
things
even I
worse
think
down the line. So,
this
absolutely, I think this
the knight
issue
in shining
really is
armor, this
reflective
person
of
that
where
comes
America is,
and
and it
stands
really
up for
is
the weak,
reflective
the
of where the West is.
oppressed. Like we have in Imran Khan in Pakistan, like you have Julani in Syria. That people are looking for an alternative, something different, something to save him from this misery. And at the moment, it's you could say encapsulated in these stories or these individuals that are coming forward, speaking up for the people. But as individuals, there's limits, and they're probably more symbolic than they are practical. And America, I mean, looking at the Trump's administration, is full of billionaires. Though they're saying they will help, I'm not sure how they will. Their mindset is around billionaires. It seems as though they're saying a lot of things that people want to hear. Practically, will they be able to deliver? I'm not too sure. Let's see how this goes, and let's see how the story develops. So, Jazakallah khair for your thoughts, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.